Hi, I'm back. You might remember these from the last re-whitening video I did. So this is going to be part 2 of re-whitening NuTone 2027 inside remote stations, because this project for our customer who's putting together a new but vintage installation in a house he's building has turned into a project around here. So I decided that it would be best to actually show off some of the steps as we go along. When we last left part 1, I had the first 4 of 8 remote station grills in the re-whitening tank. These are those 4 grills, and they came out very, very, very nice. They are back to their bright original eggshell color, because that's what they're called in the catalog. And as I showed in the first part, all of the gold highlighted letters and the frame around the controls, the gold has all been washed away from the re-whitening. And I think that while it looks good as it is now, it can look even better, because we really want to try to put this back to what it was when it was brand new. In part 1, I had a test grill that I had re-whitened, and I have highlighted the lettering and things on that, and I thought I would show you how I go about doing this in case this is something you want to do on your stations. I actually had one person already. I posted part 1 this morning, and I actually had somebody contact me and say thank you for doing this, because we have those exact same speakers in our house and they look awful, so we need to do something. So she's supposed to call me and see what we can do. Let's move these out of the way and I'll show you what we're going to do. I've chosen at random one of the 4 re-whitened grills that we just finished with. You can see here plainly that you can see the writing, but it doesn't stand out. It doesn't really have any pop to it. It really should look better than this. So let me show you how I want it to end up. Here is the example speaker that I showed in part 1, and this has already been highlighted. And you can easily see, I think, that it looks so much better with the gold highlighting back on the letters and around the panel. That's what I'm going to show you how to do. We're going to go with gold because gold was the original color. It's more suited for the time period that this system was made. So let me go ahead and get set up and I'll show you what we're going to do. You only really need 3 things to do this. Well, 4 or maybe 5. You need your re-whitened grill with all of the gold removed, a magnifying visor so I can actually see what I'm doing, a gold highlighting pen, and this is the kind I like to use. This is made by Krylon, and this is an 18 karat gold leafing pen, and this is actually a brand new one. I bought a brand new one. I had another one, but we don't use the gold that often, and I think it kind of dried out inside. So before you use it, you have to shake it to move the little mixing thing around inside, and you need that, and you need a little bit of paper towel, and I'll show you how to do that. So let me go ahead and get set up, and you can actually watch me do this. So I've got it set up. So this is the area we're going to work on, and I've shaken my gold leafing pen, and the first thing you have to do is you have to make sure that you don't have too much ink on the tip. There's the tip. It's kind of a chisel shape, which is good. But you don't want too much paint, because if you have too much paint, it's going to flood the lettering and then you're going to mess it all up. So you take your paper towel and you actually dab off a little of the gold. And I'm going to start at the bottom and work up, because you don't want your hand wiping over the area you just did. And what you have to do, very, very carefully, hopefully you can see this. See, like this. You very carefully, lightly brush the raised parts of the letters. It's not rocket science. And really, if you have a halfway steady hand, it can be that easy. See? Ooh, it says NuTone. And the reason I wear the magnifiers is it just makes it easier for me to see, because you don't want little voids. I think while the letters are fairly even, It is basically an injection molded grill. So there's bound to be some irregularities in the whole thing. And like anything, how well it comes out is all about the attention to the detail. And I noticed that when you do this, the T's are the hardest, it seems. But you have to, so I'm sort of working left to right, which is the bottom of the letters towards the top of the letters. And put the cap back on, and there you have it. So now you can actually read. We've got volume up here, and I'm reading this on the screen on the camcorder, so not looking at the grill itself, and I can read it easily. I have volume, intercom level, off, talk, push, and NuTone. And that makes a world of difference in how the whole thing looks, because now you can easily read it. The next thing we have to do is we have to do the border around here. Now, you could easily get by without doing the border, but since we're going all in on this, we might as well see if we can make it look like what it looked like when it was brand new. So the trick to doing the border is you need a little more paint, but not a lot, because you don't want it to run over the edges of the raised part of the border. You want it to just be on the surface of it. So what you do is you very carefully use the pen, and you very simply do your very best to rub it across the surface of the border. So I did one side, and ideally, if this is one of those once you start you should keep moving kind of projects. Now, one of the things that I've learned in having done this before is if you can keep your hand steady, you do one even motion and try to do the whole thing. Now, it's a little harder to do when I'm making a video because I'm not really sitting the way I would want to sit and all of that. The other thing that I do is, I'm going to turn this around because we have the bottom right here left to do, is I'm sort of resting my hand against the edge of the frame, and that way it steadies it. If you hold your hand up in midair, it's going to shake around. It's going to be really hard to do. So you've got to kind of steady it the best you can and make it the best you can. The other thing I've learned about doing this is, for the most part, once you've gone around and done it once, unless you made some huge glaring error, leave well enough alone. If there are some spots that you see after it dries might be a little thin or something like that, it's much better to wait a day until it's thoroughly dried. I don't know how much, what does this say on here about drying time, or if it says it all. Let's see, what does this? Shake well, push it to release the paint, shake as needed, keep tap. Doesn't really say how long it takes to dry. So by default for me, when things need to dry, I always wait 24 hours because that way you know for certain. If you wait 24 hours and let it dry, and then you find that maybe it's a little thin, maybe it doesn't cover quite as well as you wanted it to, then you go back and do a second coat. If you don't wait long enough and try to do a second coat before it's thoroughly dry, as you drag it along, you're going to drag up the first coat and it's going to get all clumpy and make a big mess out of it. So, how long did that actually take to do? Well, I'm going to guess if I wasn't talking and making a video, the whole thing would have taken me less than 2 minutes. So we've got 6 of them that we have to do for the customer, plus a couple spare, just because I'm doing 8. So altogether, it's like less than 20 minutes to do all of them. And it makes a world of difference. And then when we put it all back together, it's going to look really snazzy. So this is part 2. There will be a part 3, because we have to reassemble all of these. I've already cleaned all the intercom controls and all the switches and the volume controls and all of that. So there'll be reassembly once the last 4 of the grills are done. That's all for today. I hope you found this interesting, and perhaps it'll be helpful. If it is, give it a thumbs up on YouTube, because that always helps. There'll be a banner right here that shows you how to subscribe. Go to our YouTube homepage, click on the bell, and when you click on the bell, click on it to receive all notifications. And every time we post a new video, you'll get a notification and you can watch it. That's all for today. See you on the next video.